Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. If you're tuning in, you're probably as fascinated by AI and prompt engineering as we are. So today, we're taking a look at how AI is set to revolutionize medical imaging.
Really exciting stuff.
It really is. We're going to be unpacking a recent research paper, and it's called, get this, "The Era of Foundation Models in Medical Imaging is Approaching."
Catchy.
And intense. This paper dives into the world of large-scale AI applications in radiology and how they're poised to completely change the game. And listeners, if you want to stay ahead of the curve and truly master AI, you have got to check out the Generative AI Professional Prompt Engineering Guide by George Tome. It's available now on leanpub.com, and it's like having a cheat sheet to the future.
You're not exaggerating. That guide is pure gold. But okay, back to medical imaging. Think about it this way. You enter the doctor, get an x-ray, and then...
the waiting game begins.
Right. It can be days, even weeks, sometimes, before you get those results back.
And that delay impacts everything. It's not just frustrating for the patient. It has ripple effects throughout the entire healthcare system.
The research paper actually highlights this very real problem, a growing shortage of radiologists worldwide. We're talking delays in diagnoses, overworked doctors, and of course, rising costs for everyone. It's a situation that's ripe for innovation, and that's where AI steps in.
Because we're not just talking about AI being able to spot a fractured bone here, are we? We've had AI that can do basic image recognition for a while now.
Exactly. This is bigger. Think about feeding an AI the entire library of medical knowledge. Imagine, that's essentially what these LLMs or large language models are capable of doing. They're like supercharged brains for processing language and information.
Okay, so we've got these crazy smart LLMs. So where does the whole multimodal thing come in?
That's where it gets really cool. Multimodal AI can analyze both images and text, like a radiologist interpreting your scans and looking at your medical history at the same time.
So it's almost like it's thinking like a doctor, connecting the dots between what it sees in the images and a patient's medical background.
It is, and here's what I find fascinating. A lot of these studies are using OpenAI's GPT model, which, get this, isn't even specifically designed for healthcare.
Wow.
Imagine what we could do with AI models trained exclusively on medical data models that are specifically tailored for the nuances of radiology.
That's what has me so excited about this research. They found 3 key areas where AI is already making a difference: accuracy, workflow efficiency, and, get this, improving communication with patients.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
Let's start with accuracy because, honestly, that's got to be the top priority when we're talking about medical diagnoses.
Absolutely. And the good news is AI is getting really good at catching errors. The research talks about a study where GPT-4, which is a more advanced version of the model we were just discussing, was as accurate as experienced radiologists at identifying errors in reports.
It's like having a second set of highly trained eyes on every single scan. And as the technology keeps getting better, that accuracy is only going to improve.
For sure. But accuracy is only one piece of the puzzle. Let's talk about efficiency, which I know is something you're pretty passionate about, especially with your focus on prompt engineering.
It's essential. Time is so valuable, especially in healthcare. If we can have AI take over some of those more routine tasks, it frees up radiologists to focus on the really complex cases, the ones that need their expertise the most.
I agree. And it's a win-win for everyone, really. And this is actually where prompt engineering could make a huge difference, because it's how we can instruct the AI to be even more efficient. Imagine this, an AI that analyzes scans, generates preliminary reports, flags any potential problems, and even prioritizes cases based on urgency, all while following very specific protocols and guidelines.
That would be revolutionary. It would be like having a super efficient assistant who's organizing and streamlining everything. But what I find even more mind-blowing is the potential impact on patient care. And I'm not even just talking about faster, more accurate diagnoses.
It's about bridging that communication gap between doctors and patients. Just imagine if you received your scan results and could actually understand what they mean without having to decode all that medical jargon.
Oh, tell me about it. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten medical results back and felt like I needed a medical dictionary just to figure out what they were saying.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just making information clearer. It's about empowering patients. It really does. When patients understand what's going on with their own health, they're more likely to take an active role in their care.
Right, asking the right questions, advocating for their own needs.
Exactly. And that can make a huge difference in their well-being.
Instead of being intimidated, they become true partners in their own healthcare journey. But I do have to ask, With all this amazing potential, there's been some talk about the downsides of AI in healthcare. What about the limitations? Did the research mention any of those?
It did.
Yeah.
One thing is that AI, while it's catching up quickly, it still lags behind those really experienced radiologists when it comes to overall diagnostic accuracy.
Especially with those really complex cases, I imagine.
Right, especially those cases often involve interpreting subtle patterns, connecting things that seem totally unrelated. That kind of intuition comes from years and years of experience.
Like anything else, experience matters. You wouldn't put a brand new driver behind the wheel of a race car. It takes time to build up that expertise, whether you're human or a super sophisticated AI. Okay, so we've got to be realistic about where AI is right now, but the technology is always learning. What about these hallucinations I keep hearing about? It does seem a little worrying when we're talking about something as serious as medical diagnoses.
Yeah, it's something researchers are definitely working on. Basically, hallucinations in AI, it's when the AI generates stuff that's not really based on the data. Like it might misinterpret a pattern or give a result that doesn't actually fit with the evidence.
So just to be clear, the X-ray machine isn't going to suddenly tell me there's a unicorn in my stomach.
Not exactly. But there is a risk of the AI misinterpreting things, which is why having a human overseeing everything is still so important, especially now, while things are still in these early stages. It's like AI still needs a little guidance, kind of like a student with a teacher. The goal is to develop these systems so they're more reliable, more trustworthy.
It sounds like it's about finding that right balance, right? Using the power of AI, but not forgetting its limitations and making sure humans are still there to make sure things are running smoothly. This isn't about replacing doctors, is it? It's more about giving them better tools, better support.
Exactly. And that's what I find so interesting about this research. It's not saying AI is bad or dismissing it. It's about figuring out where AI really shines, where it needs tweaking, and how we can make it work for us, really improve patient care.
Working smarter, not harder. And speaking of working smarter, listeners, I want to remind you that you can be on the cutting edge of all this by diving into the world of prompt engineering. The Generative AI Professional Prompt Engineering Guide by George Tome. It's available on leanpub.com. It's like having that secret decoder ring for this whole new world of AI.
Think about it this way. If you're looking for a specific book in a huge library, you wouldn't just wander around hoping to stumble across it, right?
Definitely not.
You'd go straight to the card catalog. Prompt engineering is similar. It's about knowing how to talk to AI, give it the right instructions so you get the results you're after.
Speaking AI's language. Love it. But let's get back to this future of medical imaging. Where are we headed? What's next on the horizon?
This research paper, it paints a picture of a future where AI isn't just a tool, it's almost like a medical assistant, working right alongside doctors and nurses.
I love that. It's like having a colleague, a super specialized colleague who's always there, always ready to handle the tough stuff, freeing up doctors and nurses so they can focus on what they do best, taking care of patients.
Exactly. Imagine AI models that are so advanced they can analyze those scans with incredible accuracy, check medical journals, flag any potential issues, even suggest treatments, all the while learning and adapting as they go.
It'd be like having a whole team of experts on call 24/7 and without the massive consulting fees. And can you imagine how much that could reduce medical errors? AI never needs a coffee break. But all this amazing technology, is it only going to be available to, the people who can afford it? What about those parts of the world where resources are already stretched thin?
That's actually one of the most promising things about AI in healthcare. It has the potential to really even things out, make sure everyone has access to quality care no matter where they live.
It's incredible, isn't it, using technology to make sure everyone has the best chance at getting the health care they need.
Right. Imagine like a small village somewhere really remote where they might not even have a qualified radiologist for hundreds of miles.
Yeah.
But they have an AI system. Even if it's still being developed, think of the difference it could make.
It could be life or death. No more being stuck hundreds of miles away from help. That's a future I want to see. But this goes beyond just like logistics and who gets access. Or what about the patient experience itself?
Oh, absolutely. That's another area where AI can completely change the game.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine an AI that could take all that complicated medical jargon and just put it in plain English,
Right.
And not just translate, but explain things on a personal level,
Right.
answer questions in a way that's informative, but also kind and compassionate. Imagine how much support that would offer, especially when you're already stressed out about your health.
Wow. It'd be like having a personal advocate right there with you, making sure you understand everything that's going on.
That's it. Empowering patients so they're not just along for the ride, they're active participants in their own healthcare. I think that's how we get better outcomes and, honestly, just greater peace of mind.
And more trust in the doctor-patient relationship, right? It's amazing to think about how far we've come and what's still to come. It really feels like we're on the edge of, like, a whole new era in healthcare.
It's a really exciting time to be working in this field.
It really is. And listeners, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on all of this? We're all figuring this out together, Eva, so keep those questions coming. Stay curious. And until next time, happy diving.